All right, welcome, folks. Mil-Spec Ops Monkey here. Hey, listen, it's going to be your Sitrep. This is Monday, May 2nd, 2022. And without further ado, let's hop over the board. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, bell for notification. And remember, if you want to be a member to support the channel, you can do so through Patreon or here on YouTube. And so, without further ado, let's hop over here to the board. Now, it's kind of a light day today. I do see some interesting traffic that we're going to talk a little bit about from a third-party contractor type of movements. But the military side of the house is very slow today for some reason. You can see we're showing right now about 306 aircraft up across the U.S. Those are just military only. Averages about 250. A lot of trainers, all of these text flights down here, these flights up here, a lot of trainers and a lot of trainers in the panhandle. So that said, let's hop over here real fast. Just want to show you if we go to our watch list, just kind of give you a general idea of what's going on. We continue to spy on the border, although we seem to be creeping a little further north than usual. That's the Baltic Sea right there, and Russia's got some assets in play there. That little tight circle you see right there is an E3 that's running middleman software again. It's man in the middle, so it's going to be your Stingray. And then, of course, you got a B703 up, which is a good old red eye. And then that's our Q4 running that really funky beat across kind of right there along the Black Sea area. That's important because Istanbul, remember, is a pinch point for the port going in and out of Russia and through that general region. And so over here across into kind of the western side of Europe, not too much going on. Let's hop over here to the U.S. From our watch list perspective, it's very slow. We've got Venus flight up, and then one P8 that seems to be very north and out of its usual region. But that 757-200 is a blue and white. That can sometimes be a bird for both president and vice president. So nobody on that one today, just out flying. Then we got the P8s off of the coast of Florida, which look to be just regular business as usual. Nothing else across the U.S., as you can see. Pretty dang quiet. So, all right, there's that. Now, let's look at very quickly, as we go through the watch list, let's take a look at the heavy lifts. This is kind of an interesting, very light. Again, you can see a couple ships coming out of kind of the El Paso region, Biggs Army Airfield type of flights. A couple C-130s look to be headed eastbound. Nothing really else to speak of in the U.S. Now, Europe is hopping. That's a pretty busy little, got a lot going on there. Now, there seems to be a little bit of a buildup here right there in that same region along the Black Sea. Notice we had that Q4 and a lot of our reconnaissance doing work right there in that same area. And then, of course, we got a F-16, looks to be in-flight emergency. That looks to be a Belgium Air Force bird. But don't know what's going on with him. Just looks to be a general squawk, probably 7,700. Not a big deal. It could be anything, anything at all. So, again, right here along that border, we look to be building up assets again. Those are C-130s, so those aren't the really long lifts. A couple C-17s in the region. But then we get up here into the Baltic area, and that is where we seem to be putting more assets. We're kind of spreading out north and south now. So that's a pretty good indicator that things are still continuing to escalate. There's nothing shutting down by any means. As a matter of fact, I would expect this sometime here in the next 3 months to go hot, if I had to guess. All right, let's get over to the tankers real fast just to kind of show you what's happening with them. A little bit of refueling support there in Europe. Again, it seems to be in that same Bulgaria, Romania area for everything right now. So that seems to be kind of the focus for us. Get back over here to the U.S., really nothing to speak of. It's kind of a strange, we do see fighters up quite a bit when you see a lot of the tankers up. And northeast, we do see, it looks like a couple of air refuelers are popping across the drink there, which could be an indicator that we're sending fighters over because they can't make it across the drink without air refuelers. Don't know that for a fact, but that is a possibility. And then just right there in kind of that Jacksonville, southern Georgia area, air refueling. Nothing else across the United States right now. Very, very spooky quiet. Okay, so That's going to take us over here to our TFRs. I just want to show you what we've got coming up. These down here in Alabama look to be happening tomorrow. So I don't see anything on Flashbang's calendar as of yet, but we got the usual suspects up in terms of temporary flight restrictions. That white line you see creaking across, splitting the map there, that's going to be your International Space Station track. Looks like he's coming across here pretty shortly and into the region. Then we got some thunderstorms, lots of fires going on. So other than that, nothing really to see there. So, all right, let's minimize these. Let's get over to our board. This was the one, remember I was just telling you they've been doing a lot of legwork here in this general area. Bulgaria, Romania. I don't know what's going on, if Russia's putting some stuff in this general area and at the buildup and they're worried about it, or we've got some maybe Russian naval assets out here in the Black Sea. But that right there is going to be that Q4 drone that's just going back and forth in the area. Again, we've got a lot of troops here and a lot of troops here. Sofia is a major air base for us, as is Bucharest. So keep our eye on that. And then we've got this NATO bird, again, man in the middle. I was showing you that tight circle. When they start running that round, perfectly round circle, they are becoming man in the middle, which is that Stingray dirt box technology. So just like this is where that Q4 drone is, there is something happening in this area right now they are very concerned about. So we'll continue to watch the news and see what it is. More than likely, you got some Russian troops here, and you've got some stuff on the border getting ready to pop off that they are very concerned about. Remember, Russia's been hitting Odessa, Moldova, and that general region, so that could just indicate we've got some troop buildup right here. Okay. All right, on over here to Flashbang and his calendar for today. Kind of a big nothing event, except for this one that caught my eye. Pay attention to that, because that Eid al-Fighter, or whatever the heck they call that. I know I just butchered that one, but that's okay. I don't really care. It's basically an Islamic holiday. All right, it's an Islamic celebration. So just note that data point. Wonder if the Kenyan will be there for that one. All right, over to our Marine board. We're going to start. Let me hit that. I'm going to go over to the Shanghai side of the house. Now let's take a quick look at what we have. This is kind of we do see some light flow starting to take place, which is that's good. But you can see there is still quite a bit of buildup out there. And down south in the other port, major port, again, a lot of buildup out there. It's going to take them a long time to get these things back on track. But we do see a little bit of life being breathed into this, but it is by no means back up to the regular pace. All right, over here to Long Beach, just to kind of give you a litmus test on what's going on, what we're seeing, and its impact on the Long Beach side. As you can see, Long Beach is pretty thinned out. We from at one point we had about 100 boats or ships sitting out there. It looks to be now just a handful, maybe a dozen. They're going to get caught up here pretty quickly, and then there's going to be nothing coming. So over to Black Sea. Now this is that pinch point. Remember, we were talking about the Q4 drone looking around in this general region. That's your flow, your pinch point right there in Istanbul. And of course, that runs straight up. That's how Russia provides all their stuff into that southern side of the Russian, into Russia. And so, but that is kind of going to give you a walkthrough of where we are. We have not disrupted any of the flows going in and out of the Black Sea. It is pretty much same as it's always been. If anything, it's probably picked up a little bit. But this is your pinch point right here. And this up here in this area is where we're seeing all the activity with the Q4 drone. Basically, this is where they're all looking. So this would indicate there's something happening right in here, maybe even with the seaport side of the house. But again, we've got a pretty large presence here in Bucharest and over here in Sofia. And so when they're looking in these general areas and looking at the borders and stuff, that would be probably a worry for them. So we'll see. We'll probably hear that data point if it comes out in the next few days, and we'll be able to circle back on this information that we just looked at and know why they were there. Okay. All right. Now, this over here to Zero Hedge, just kind of hit a couple of the headlines real fast. Food shortages in 6 months. Globalists are telling us what happens next. They always do. World Economic Forum kind of stepping out, telling everybody what's coming. But this right here just is a just we've been saying it. This is a backup, just kind of telling you what they are planning, and you need to be prepared for it. So it says food shortages in the next 6 months. It says a week ago there was a torrent of press releases from global institutions all mentioning the exact same concern. Mockingbird Media, right? They're going to pump in the same message, and that's how you know they are working their agenda, right? So, and that message is food shortages next 3 to 6 months. Well, what's interesting about that, you can see the ones that are really pumping it out: the IMF, BIS, World Bank, the UN, Rockefeller Foundation, World Economic Forum, Bank of America, and even Flashbang himself, all singing to the same sheet. It's coming. Now, the timing of this is what is key, because that's about August to November. What happens in November? The elections. So if you have a bunch of turmoil, civil unrest, and things going on in the U.S., you can lock things down and not have to worry about an election. I think the timing to this is very suspect. Let's just put it that way. So keep your eyes on that. And then let's get over here to the House of Representatives are now introducing a bill to give Biden a sweeping, basically green light in him to wage war in the Ukraine. They're trying to pass that through. Let's see if it passes. If it does, hold on to your socks, because that means he has been greenlit for basically anything that he decides to go after in Ukraine with Russia. It's on like Donkey Kong. So that's a big concern, especially knowing that he is not very cognizant, and knowing that he has got a vested interest, as well as many of our other politicians, in Ukraine. So that's not a good thing. So, all right, now we know we've been giving away the farm to Ukraine. We sent them 500 Stinger missiles. Raytheon is now saying, well, not so fast. I can't replenish those. And so that means that our ability for our own troops to have those and use them has now been highly compromised. And they're saying now it could be years before they can rebuild these. The reason for that is because they can't get the parts to make them. A lot of the electronics they're having issues with. And in fact, they said they haven't made these in over 2 decades, and that they're going to have to actually go back in and redesign a lot of it and update a lot of things in there, especially the electronic suite that goes into these. So that is not a good situation. That means we are probably quite some time out. Even if they fast track it, you're probably talking 3 to 6 months before they're ready to even start manufacturing again. And that's if they could get the parts, but they can't get the parts. So could be a long time, years, as they say, before they can get these things back out. So, all right. Now, we were talking a little bit about contractor flights. I'm mainly talking about Atlas Air and Coletta Air. I just want to show you the activity that's going on. It has changed a little bit. Last Sitrep we talked about, we had a lot of flights coming in and out of Alaska from the U.S. and then headed into Seoul, North Korea. And that was a fourth ship actually headed into that general region. I thought was an interesting data point. Now, I do know that Flashbang is actually talking about taking a trip over there. This could be something greasing the skids for his coming visit. Hey, I gave you a bunch of good stuff, and now I need you to play ball with us, more than likely, because that's how they operate, right? But just want to show you that continues on. And then, of course, we've got this one that actually just took off landed 39 minutes ago, coming out of Kentucky, headed to Bahrain. And so that is more than likely bringing equipment or assets into the region. That's going to be one of your big white 747-400s operated by Coletta Air. Or actually, let me just double check. It's a 777-200. Sorry. So anyway, again, data point, they are moving a lot of stuff for our military right now. That seems to be a shift in focus in the last 10 days. So we kind of see those things pulse on and off. Could be because a lot of our C-17s, C-130s are undergoing some maintenance right now because they have been doing a lot of flying. And so we're having to shift everything over to the commercial side to get assets put into play. All right, over here to our Star Wars map. Kind of light today in terms of cyber attacks, but it's a little lighter than usual. It's not light by any means, but it is lighter than usual. So we'll keep our eye on that. Looks to be the U.S. getting peppered, like always, pretty regularly there. All right, Biggs Army Airfield. We had a couple things happen over the weekend. We had a Omni Air come in from Bangor, Maine. And then Friday, we saw this one coming in our last Sitrep, which was coming in from Baltimore, Washington. Wasn't really sure if that's tied to poppies or if it's tied to troop movement. Not really positive on that, but we'll keep our eye on it. The only other thing we've got coming in, we've got another Atlas Air coming in from Indy, and then from there headed back to Baltimore, Washington. So could be an indicator that we're putting more troops out again, getting ready to sequence some out. So we'll continue to watch it and see if the trend changes or if we see any headlines that kind of match up with this. All right. Okay, let's see. This is going to be Dick's Army Airfield over here in Lakehurst. It's kind of a big push area as well. Got a reach that came inbound from Quebec. Nothing else on the board, actually, except for this Air Transport International departure headed to Baltimore, Washington again. So not sure that could be troops, could be equipment. We'll watch it. Find out here soon enough. Canberra flights. Now, these are troop movers, and they are pretty busy today. You're going to see a lot of stuff heading to the Middle East, a lot of stuff heading into Europe, and these guys are heading across the drink. Let's see here. What is... looks like Hill Air Force Base has got one moving, and that may be headed into Baltimore, Washington, and then I imagine that's headed across the drink. So, but just wanted to point that's Ogden. So, all right. This is going to be your Brits, Royal Air Force again. Same thing. Starting to get very busy. Got some movement down into the Africa area, which is interesting. Don't see that very often. But again, across Europe, seems to be a very big buildup U.S. or NATO-wise in Romania and Bulgaria. That seems to be kind of the focal point. And then we'll see a couple things, bleeding up in here into the Baltic region. So let's just continue to watch it and see. Norway's kind of starting to get engaged, as is Finland, and that seems to be an area where we're starting to push things in. Okay. All right. Over here to our Ruskies. Looks like we got a flight that came out of St. Petersburg down to Moscow. That just landed 1 hour, 3 minutes ago. And that's just a little bird. Don't know what kind of aircraft it was, but it looked to be a smaller asset, at least from the icon showing on the thing versus big. So, all right. And then Omni Air, again, these are usually troop movers, but this one's kind of an interesting deal. We've got them coming out of Greenville, Spartanburg, headed to Phoenix, which actually could be immigrant related. And then this one, Fort Worth up to Fort Drum, that's the 10th Mountain. So that's probably troop related, headed up here. And then those guys will probably head across the drink too. So again, it looks like we see a slight uptick in assets moving into Europe and into the Asian area. It was a little bit of a lull for a few weeks, and now it looks like it is back up on the move again. So all indications, man, we are not far off from a war. So we'll see what happens here. All right, let me back that one up and then just say number, 264 across the U.S. Very low, very low. For a Monday, it is very low. But you can see here's a couple C-17s that look to be just taking off, headed southbound, a little two-ship. We are seeing, again, like I said, we're seeing more going across the drink right now, and we are seeing some of the air refuelers headed across that way too. More than likely, because the C-17s don't really need any kind of assistance to get across the drink. That thing is a globe master for a reason. A lot of range, carries a lot of fuel, a lot of cargo. When you see the tankers going over, that's usually either support of stuff in the region or could be supporting fighters, getting them across the drink. So we may be sending some squadrons over as this thing continues to boil up, right? All right, down to Guantanamo Bay. I did see an interesting flight today that I just was going to bring up. VV-106 is the call sign for it. It ended transmission right down here just as it was starting to take that hook around the island. And that's coming out of Camp Springs up there in the Brown Zone. And it was a little Gulfstream, little whitetail Gulfstream that was flying as an NA, kind of low-key, but landed in there today. Now, I do want to show you the calendar. This is going to be May 2nd. You can see we've got a motions hearing going on for Arim Hussein Muhammad Abdul al-Nasiri, if you can say that one all together. I just shortened it out, al-Nasiri. But anyway, looks like this dude is going through his motions hearing. And then after that, we got Shaka Khan coming back up. But these guys, it looks to be canceled for the rest of the month. So let's continue to watch it, see if we see an uptick in traffic. That could indicate some other trials are going on down there that we're not seeing because they're classified if they continue to clear these. Because remember, they are very limited on courtroom space. Flashbang had mentioned spending, I think, $12 to $14 million to put in some new classified courtrooms. There's a reason for that. It wasn't to work this stuff here with the 9/11 guys. This was probably the other things going on, like human trafficking. So we'll continue to watch that. But that is really going to be it for our Sitrep today. I think we are on the precipice of something, another push or another surge of equipment headed to Europe and headed to Asia, which would indicate that they don't see any slow or anything stopping the war that seems to be coming at breakneck speed. And the food shortage is definitely going to be crippling on a global scale. So time to be prepared. Things are changing daily right now, and it's not good, that's for sure. So, all right, listen, folks, that's going to be it. Keep that powder dry and stay frosty. We'll talk soon. God bless. Monkey out.
Check out the latest gear and products at monkeywerxus.com.